Boys and girls, UFC Macau just concluded, and oh my god, Petr Yan is back. He is so fucking back. We are here for this title run. I'm going to run through the main card and talk to you about all the big fights and big moments, as well as a couple of other things that happened in the card tonight. And yeah, man, we're going to start with the main event, make our way down, and there's only a couple prelims I want to mention, but still going to mention them at the end of the video. If you want to look at any particular fight, chapters below should be splitting up the video into being able to find whatever part of the video you are looking for or care to hear me talk about. So let's get straight into it with the main event of Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a Petr Yan masterclass tonight. So look, Figgy looked fine out there. He did, honestly. He even had really good moments, and he even had some of those good moments during sequences where Yan was like having dominant kind of engagements, you know, with Figgy, and Yan's getting the better of him, but Figgy still just throws out a random kick or something like that, or clips him with a random hook or whatever it is, takedowns at random times. Figgy's good at that. That's what makes him a champion. You know, that's a very necessary attribute to have, to be able to just kind of scrap when you need to. And even though Figgy was losing most of the fight, almost the whole time, pretty much every round he managed to make a couple of moments that were just scrappy and gave him a chance to clip Yan with something, or pull Yan down to the mat for a second and get him into a position that could have ended up with a submission attempt or something like that. You know what I mean? Overall though, Yan's boxing looked really crisp, dude. He looked really nice. The combinations were very, very, very good. That uppercut was money. All night long, he was clipping Figgy with that across multiple rounds. Like, it wasn't even just for 60 seconds there. He used that uppercut a couple of times. Well, nah, bro. Figgy just couldn't see that thing coming. He was blind to it. He was just completely blind from the center downwards. He's just all looking up and left and right. It was there all night for Petr Yan. He didn't even really need to. He was setting it up, but he didn't even really need to. At moments, he was just throwing them back to back, and they were landing. But eventually, he kind of left it and moved on to other techniques later on, like good takedown defense, kind of controlling Figgy in terms of his pace and his pressure and energy. Yan was just kind of always there. It was never necessarily a volume issue for Figgy, but it was always a matter of just Yan's making him miss a bunch. The accuracy would have been way down for Figueiredo in this fight. And every time Figgy misses, then Yan throws combination back, hits him with a couple things, hits him in the body, hits him upstairs, hits him down low. Just very, very good splitting of the attack from Petr Yan. He's very good at doing that, being very dynamic, and I'm here, I'm there, you can't tell when I'm going to go between those places, and you're going to get hit everywhere. I'm going to manage to clip you in every area, at least a bit. And he did that eventually. He almost finished Figgy a couple of times, had him pretty hurt with some of those uppercuts, but Figgy managed to hold on throughout the most of the fight. Well, the whole fight, so he made it to the end. Yeah, the whole fight. He still looks like he's high level, man. So look, next for Figgy, I think you give him like a Sandhagen or a Cejudo. I think a Cejudo fight would be very fun for Figueiredo right now. Or maybe you feed him, I don't know, Batista. But I don't think Batista deserves the number that Figgy has next to his name. We don't really want to risk that, but the UFC might want to. Who knows? As for Yan, look, dude, arguably, I think that Yan might deserve this fight more than... Well, I do think that Yan deserves this fight more than Umar does. O'Malley... Maybe not. Maybe I feel like if you were to say, well, do you give O'Malley a rematch with Merab or Yan a rematch with Merab? You probably have to give O'Malley that rematch. It probably makes more sense to do that. But I'm just, as time goes on, I'm getting less and less attracted to the idea of giving Umar a title shot off that Corey Sandhagen win. I don't think he deserves it. I think even he knows that he kind of doesn't, which is why he was happy to fight Cong Yadong. But that fight got cancelled. Supposedly it's only been postponed, and that actually is still going to be the fight that happens next. But tis what tis. Regardless, my point, I think that Petr Yan deserves a title shot in his next fight. I don't think he needs to fight anyone else after this. He could, and the UFC might make him, but I just don't see any reason for him to. He's going to have to rematch someone, or he's going to have to fight really far down the rankings, or he's going to have another number one contender fight. And Merab was saying that he thinks Figueiredo deserves the title shot if he beats Petr Yan. Well, Petr Yan beat Figgy, so now what? Like, you know, dude beat Cong Yadong and Figueiredo back to back after only losing to you properly, Merab, and then having really close fights with both Aljo and O'Malley back to back after beating Sandhagen before that, way before Umar did it. So, you know what I mean? I feel like Yan just deserves that more. We'll see what happens though, but I feel like if I'm Yan, I'm betting on the fact that I'm able to get a title shot in my next fight if either Merab or O'Malley is the champion. If Umar's the champion, no, you can't do it, but we'll see. It's up to Yan and his team to kind of market that well and put him in a good position. So We'll just have to see what the next matchup is for both guys and see how the bantamweight division kind of unfolds with Merab in the next title fight. As for the co-main event, it was kind of mid. I'm literally going to spend like 30 seconds on this. Ricci was struggling with the distance the entire fight, pretty much. She just couldn't get in there. Xiaonan's just too much taller than her, and Ricci's reach is just so small, which is ironic because her name is Ricci, and she's got bad reach. But Yan was patient and just calculated like most of the fight and just made Ricci miss over and over again, and just her accuracy was I mean, I thought Ricci did okay at moments when I was watching the first round, and I was thinking she's losing, but not ridiculously. And they showed the stats, and it was like 20-2 in significant strikes. It was, she landed like 2 significant strikes in like an entire round. And I don't know, you know, maybe it was I was not watching that fight as well as I could have been. I don't know how I missed something as big as hasn't landed a strike in this round, you know what I mean? Like 2 strikes a whole round versus like 15 or something like that Xiaonan had landed by that point. But it was what it was. Yan kept the distance the whole time, and it's just a height problem, just a skill issue, to be honest, on Tabatha Ricci's behalf. If they don't open up an atomweight division in the UFC, I don't know what she's going to do, because yeah, it's rough for her. She's just not able to really get in there with the striking distance. And the grappling, she almost did some stuff with it early in the fight, but it just didn't quite pan out. And Xiaonan just manages to ride her way to a decision victory. So good job for Yan Xiaonan. And next for her is probably a pretty high level fight, honestly, in the strawweight division, because she just lost to Wei Li, but now she's defended against number 10 in the division, and she's number 2. So she's done her due diligence for the company, and now I think they're probably going to reward her with like a top 5 opponent again for maybe a semi number 1 contender / precursor to a number 1 contender fight type of deal. We'll see how it goes, but overall that fight was pretty mid. Next up, so Muslim Salikhov sent Song Kenan to the Shadow Realm with a teddy and a blankie. And he is there still right now sleeping. And I don't know if he'll ever be back. He may never return to us. Song Kenan may forever be lost to his family and everyone around him. Like, at this point, Muslim Salikhov is just an enigma, right? Is an anomaly in the UFC. He's old as fuck, and yet he's 40 years old. I've written here, my man is 40 years old, unranked, getting ninjutsu knockouts like he's in a fucking anime. Like, what are we doing? You are unranked, okay? And you're 40. Even if you get a ranked opponent in your next fight, you're probably going to be like 41 or 42 by this point when you're actually getting ranked opponents then. And that you're not going to get to a title fight. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we here doing grandpa ninja knockouts and not saying anything about it? I don't know what his plan is for the rest of his career, but I mean, I'll watch. If you're just going to do fucking ninja KOs all the time, then sure, I'll watch. Boys and girls, we have our fucking, is this welterweight? Zabit. We've got fat Zabit now. So the geriatric guy just gave Song Kenan narcolepsy. So that's pretty cool. He's going to be falling asleep at the slightest gust of wind for the rest of his life now, after being kicked into next year. So that's pretty cool. I guess that fight's just so weird to even describe. Like, what am I supposed to take from that? Cool. Song Kenan just got brutally KO'd, and his chin's probably pretty fucked from that. And Salikhov is surging with KOs, but he's 40. Go figure. I don't know what he's going to do. We'll see. We shall see. Up next, so Chinese Pereira got fraud checked. You know, the girl that beat Shevchenko in kickboxing. It was in her second ever kickboxing match as well. And what was Shevchenko's final kickboxing match before she moved to MMA permanently. Yeah, she got submitted by Gabriella Fernandes. She was doing well, striking wise. You know, she fought okay. She was doing good with distance control, and she was landed a couple of nice shots. There was like 2 or 3 pretty cool moments that she also, like I was like just saying with Muslim Salikhov about ninja shit. She did a couple of fucking real ninja shit moments. She's got really nice kicks, and that right leg is really good. She's got really good rear kicks from it. Still ended up in the 3rd round, I want to say it was. Got caught in a submission by Gabriella Fernandes. That girl she was 1-2 in the UFC. Now she's 2-2 in the UFC because she beat you. So that's rough. It's a sad, you know, wall to run into. I don't think she's beating modern day Valentina Shevchenko, to be honest. In my opinion, I actually watched that fight today, and I think Shevchenko won their first fight. So it's actually kind of funny that that's the thing that she got into UFC, well, not going to the UFC based off, but coming to the UFC, everyone's talking about this is the girl that beat Shevchenko, you know. And I don't know. Like, it was a very close fight, and I'm actually not that shocked to see the decision go either way. But I think that Shevchenko got the better of her in that fight, and I just think that Wang didn't win that. I don't know what's going to be next for her in the UFC. Just gotta hope that she comes back against the next contender that they give her well, and maybe with the cool KO that's going to ignite a little bit more hype. She did well at moments against Gabriella Fernandes and had her hurt at times, but it just wasn't enough to get a finish. I think from memory, I don't remember whether in the second or third round, but I had Wang winning the entire fight so far in terms of scoring. Like, she was way ahead, but just got caught in a submission by someone that's not really that technical and that high level of an MMA fighter in the UFC, being Gabriella Fernandes, no offense. But tis what tis, we'll see what happens in our next fight. But yeah, Chinese Pereira got fraud checked. Up next, so Oezdemir versus Ulberg. I actually gave this to Oezdemir when I was watching it live. I did not think that Carlos Ulberg won this, and I think I was a little bit wrong in the sense that I was quite shocked. I literally went like, what? Ulberg won that? What do you mean? I think it might have been kind of close, a little bit more close than I had realized, but I still thought it was pretty clearly 29-28 for Volkan Oezdemir. I don't think I liked what I saw. I can see how rounds weren't clear at times, so like it can be iffy of one to score. But the stats were just really close, man. It was like 29-28 in one round. In strikes, I'm not talking scoring, I'm talking strikes, was like 28-27 in strikes. And the next round was like 25-23. And then a round after that was like 15-21 or something like that. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but I remember looking, being like, oh my god, these rounds were really fucking close. And they were, I think 2 of the rounds were almost identical in strikes, to be honest. The only difference being whether they were leg strikes and body strikes, head strikes. Yeah, I gave this to Oezdemir live. Ulberg got it. Look, it would be interesting to see where he goes next. He, in my opinion, needs to make some improvements before he gets a next ranking fight, next fight up the rankings. But regardless of who won, even though I think Oezdemir won, either guy, I think they both looked really goofy out there. I think that not only do those versions of Oezdemir and Ulberg both lose to Pereira, I think they both lose to like a Jamal Hill. Or like, this is what I said when I was watching the fight as well. I think that Oezdemir and that Ulberg both get beaten by like a Jamal Hill or a Khalil Roundtree right now, or maybe a Yuri. We've already seen Yuri beat Oezdemir before. I just don't know. I think they were a bit too slow. They weren't that aware of what was going on all the time. There wasn't that much technicality all the time. Not to say that there was none, but there was definitely periods where I was like, this is getting a bit sloppy at times. We're not really covering up in certain areas. You're getting clipped by stuff, and there's just not enough power to put you out with it. You're kind of lucky there. You know, Oezdemir was getting clipped with a lot. His guard wasn't that good at times, but tis what tis. Very close fight either way. We'll see how Oezdemir does. We'll see how Ulberg does now that he's probably going to get like a top 5 matchup next. So we'll see. Good luck to him though. After that, so below we had Zhang Mingyang versus Ozzy Diaz. Now, this guy is fucking monstrous. He is brutal as shit, and I think we need to just give him a little bit of a push. You know, give him a pretty big fight against a decent opponent. Not to say he needs a ranked fight at all. He's only had 2 fights in the UFC, I think, maybe 3. But he has a 100% finish rate, and they are all first round finishes. He's 18-6. Okay, so well, what did I say? I said he's 18-6. He's 19-6 now. So at one point he was 8-6. He must have been 8-6 at one point, because he's on an 11 fight win streak now. They're all in the first round. Every single one of those last 11 fights are all first round finishes by him. Some of them are cans, but that's still a fucking crazy run to go on. Those finishes that happened to him 11 fights ago. So yeah, he was 8-6, must have been, and then now he's 19-6. So that's a crazy fucking career resurgence to have, and that's why I reckon you just give him, man. Just give him a nice big matchup. Nothing in the rankings, but just outside the rankings, someone the fans would know that they've seen some wars with. Could be another guy that's a good finisher, or maybe just someone that's going to be fun. I reckon like a Modestas Bakauskas or like an Ion Kutalaba would be like a fun matchup for them. Both guys are coming off wins after having some losses in the division, so they're both coming off good performances. Give Zhang Mingyang a shot at one of those guys. They're all possibly going to get finishes, you know, and maybe brutal ones, all big guys. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Honestly, it'll be fun. This guy, I don't know much about him, just the fact that dude gets first round finishes all the time, supposedly. So hell yeah, let's see more. And then finally, I just want to talk about one of the prelims, man, because the final for the females strawweight tournament for the Road to UFC, which was what this card was, the finals for the female one was a 5'2" Ming Shi versus a 5'7" Fen Xiaocan, however you say her last name. So the 5'2" girl, okay, she gets beat up for 2 rounds of distance, okay? She does okay moments, gets takedowns once or twice, I think, and does minimal damage and minimal control time with those takedowns that she gets. But on the feet, this chick is 5'7" and she's 5'2", and the reach is matching that gap as well. And she's just not doing anywhere near the amount of keeping up that she needed to do to be not... To have those rounds be close. The big tall chick was just jabbing her at range, keeping her at range the whole time. It was very, very clearly going towards her. And then, in the 3rd round, she just decides, fuck it, I'm going Chinese David versus Goliath mode right now, and just whips up a vicious head kick, and it's one of the most vicious head kicks I've seen in months, and just puts Feng to sleep brutally. And she's literally stiff on the canvas. Stiff. And then Ming Shi just fucking walks back, just like bows, like thank you, and then just goes and stands up against the cage, and she literally just looks like... Because she doesn't know what to do, because the chick that she just knocked out is in a stretcher. Getting put in a stretcher with the big fucking foam around her head and shit, and she's just sitting there watching her like... just standing there idle like a fucking GTA character, just like, yeah, what the fuck do I do here while there's no commentary, no the camera's just staring at me. She's just standing there with the camera staring at her like, she might fucking not recover. She might not recover. And then she proceeds to jump on the mic and cry tears of sorrow for her opponent's suffering, and says like, I hope she gets better. I've been a little bit I've been a little bit too merciful in some of my previous fights, because she got decision wins in her previous UFC, Road to UFC fights. And she goes, I just got a bit more aggressive this time. Yeah, you want to fucking say that again, mate. You got a bit more aggressive. You murdered her. You just committed the first fucking homicide in UFC China. To top it off, apparently her parents don't even know that she's a fighter. Now, she's like 30, so not like she's like a 21-year-old living with her parents, but she's 30, she's a doctor, and her parents supposedly think that she's at some like taekwondo tournament, like chopping up bricks with her fucking forearm or something like that, you know what I mean? And she's here committing homicides on live television instead. That's mental. That clip's going to be pretty big on Instagram and TikTok. I'd say it was a ridiculous KO, and it's a 5'2" chick whipping a head kick up at a chick 5 inches taller than her and knocking her out stiff. Like, it's just a ridiculous David versus Goliath kind of knockout. Crazy stuff from her, man, honestly. A great way. I don't know how she's going to match up to what she just did, because you're going to really struggle to live up to the hype that you've just set yourself to follow up on. But, I mean, you've made a name for yourself, so at least you've got some. It's better than nothing, right? It's probably better than just hoping that you get your hype naturally. And that's pretty much it. The rest of the prelims were kind of mid. It was all right. One thing to note, I don't know how you say his name, Lonier Kavanagh, the guy that got a really brutal KO on the Contender Series, got a win as well. It was a kind of challenging fight for him, but it was good. I enjoyed it. So hopefully he continues to stay undefeated and surge and get a good matchup next. Yeah. That's pretty much all I've got to say, guys. I hope you did enjoy this breakdown. You could have been there to watch it with me live if you wanted, but you weren't. If you were, shout out you, but I fucking highly doubt you were. So come and join me live for UFC 310. We've got a gap this weekend, but next week we've got UFC 310. So I'm going to be here live doing a fight companion, sitting in this chair with this microphone, with this pair of headphones right here, on my ears, watching the fights, talking to you guys about it. Come and join me in chat, sit with me. You don't have to wait multiple days for the reactions to come out or the breakdown here to come out where I talk about the fights. You can just see what I think immediately. A lot of these videos is me regurgitating the stuff that I initially say when I'm watching live. So, you know, if you want to go check that stuff out, you better see these opinions and whatnot earlier. So come and join me. It would be fun to have you there. UFC 310 next it'll be next week. I'd love to have you guys with me. So please check it out. Watch out for the reactions. There should be at least 1 or 2 reaction videos coming from this card as well. Leave a like, subscribe, chuck on notifications so you don't miss those reaction videos or live streams. You'll get told about them 30 minutes before they start and when they start. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the love I've been shown on the channel recently. It's very, very much hard to be efficiently grateful for, if that makes sense. So just thank you guys for being here. I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys all in the next mixed martial arts video. Goodbye.